we live? You recording?
We're live and your water's in the way.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Fiji.
Sponsored by Fiji.
No, they're not. All right, I'll move it. Hey guys, is that how the intro goes? Oh, okay. So hey guys, welcome to EC Money with Elyin and Chris. That's Elyin. I'm Chris, and today we're going to talk about baby step number 4.
Quattro.
How to save money.
Save money, man. That's what we're talking about. Savings. Not about how to make more money. Even though I know that's what you're told everyone was going to be able to do in 9 days. Still working on it.
It's been more than 9 days.
Been more than 9 days.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about savings.
Let's
and lots of it. Because really, that's the next step towards all of this. Towards getting towards really buying that first home.
Right.
And now, well, if you did the other steps, which I know for some people it's going to sound impossible. How am I going to pay off all my debt, Chris?
Huh?
How am I going to pay off all my debt, bro?
GameStop.
That's how we're going to pay it off? Invest in GameStop?
Invest in GameStop, Bitcoin, same thing. You can pay off all your debt in about 12 days.
No, man. Absolutely not.
Snowball effect.
So this is why we're not listening to Chris.
Right.
And we're listening to me.
This time.
And Chris is going to narrate and make sure I stay on track.
Yes.
Talking about on track, our main topic is savings, but let's get into this week's news.
Oh, well, before we get into this week's news, I got a question for you.
You got a question?
How often do you find people come to you and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. They do everything right. And then when it comes to the down payment, they say, no one told me I had to have a down payment.
So that's a trick question, I feel like.
Okay.
And here's what I mean by that. It's if you come to us early enough in the process, which
Right.
believe it or not, a lot of consumers make it to us really early in the process. 6
Right.
months out to a year out, we're able to address that.
Right.
So that's why I say it's a trick question, because we're able to address it right up front. Like I said, actually consult someone. And instead of doing what most other places do, which is, hey, you're approved or declined, we actually consult them.
Right.
And tell them what they're going to need, budget them out, and basically go through all these baby steps with them,
Right.
one-on-one.
Right.
Sometimes at an accelerated rate,
Right.
meaning some clients, hey, look, I want my house now.
Mm-hmm.
I can afford to have some of these debts still.
Right.
So we're going to go into savings maybe a little bit sooner.
So Ace Lending never says no. You just say not now in some cases.
Well, everyone can buy a home.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is by far accurate. Yeah, never say no. It's just when can you actually buy?
Right.
And more importantly, what does it take? And I believe that that's what most of us are here for. We just need to hear, hey, what do I have to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's up to you if you're willing to or not.
See, I failed already because I'm supposed to keep you on track, and I got you getting into your bag when we're supposed to be talking about this week's news. So I apologize. This week's news.
This week's news. How we do it. All right, this week's news, stimulus check.
Right.
Did you know they approved it?
I heard something about that.
You heard through the rumors?
Yes, I did. I heard through the
Third
rumors.
round of stimulus checks.
There's not going to be a crab leg left in the sea.
No. So here's what I heard. And by heard, I mean I actually read.
Uh-huh.
They approved it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple things I think everyone should really know, pay attention to. So they approved that everyone's going to receive up to $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
It's the maximum each person can receive.
Mm-hmm.
They also adjusted what is called the AGI,
Adjusted gross income. Yes.
what that guy said.
Yes.
And they lowered it in some cases,
Okay.
my understanding.
Yes, I heard that too.
So individual income now is
Mhm.
going to go to $80,000.
Okay.
Here's the cool thing. I don't know what it was before.
Doesn't matter. it's what we got going on right now. So
But we know what it is this time around.
Right.
Does that count?
It does. It
Because
does.
it doesn't matter what it was before.
Yes.
Just what it is today.
Right.
If you file as head of household,
Mhm.
120,000.
For a single person.
If filing as head of household.
Okay.
So it's
Single
all how you
person.
file on your tax returns.
Thank you for that, because single is technically a description on the tax return. So
Yeah, so
thank you for the
you can file
clarification.
as head of household, be married, or
Right.
head of household, not be married,
Right.
and just, claim separately.
Okay. Makes sense.
Or if you file jointly, which you can file jointly and not be legally married,
Right.
then it's up to 160,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's pretty awesome.
they made some big changes there. The other big change that they made is they changed, or I shouldn't say they changed, they expanded the definition of what falls under dependents to include more adults, and more individuals in general, because you think about it, there are plenty of what eventually become, I guess kids taking care of their parents when they're in older stages. So now the parents are dependents, or vice versa.
That makes sense. Yeah,
so they expanded that, and apparently that's going to go ahead and allow over 13 million more Americans to receive the stimulus check.
That's crazy.
13 million.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
A very, very good thing.
I mean, it's needed right now. I mean, the reality is as much as we're still doing business, there are plenty of people who are still not back to work. There are restaurants right now running like a third of the shift.
Right.
People are doing 3-4 times as much work because the restaurant can't afford to get everyone back in. It's absolutely insane. But here in Orlando, you go to Disney or you go downtown Orlando and you would think
everything's okay.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, it's packed.
It's absolutely bizarre, man. It is the most bizarre thing. The other thing to know, it's maybe how to get your stimulus check faster.
Okay.
File your taxes.
Right away. Don't wait till the deadline.
Don't wait. That can delay it because what they're trying to figure out is where you fall on that adjusted gross income.
Right.
So if you get it filed, they're able to process it quicker. There was also a lot of people that, believe it or not, didn't get their stimulus checks before.
Right.
So this will also either get them credit for that or get them that stimulus check still.
So they can double up.
Double up, double
Jeez.
down.
It's crazy.
You know what we can use that money for?
What?
Saving money!
Saving money. Or...
No, don't say it. Don't.
What you can do is take your stimulus check, buy a part of the ocean, put long-term rentals on all the fish, and then flip that money that you make, buy more rentals, and then come and buy a house.
Remember when I said we don't listen to him? That is why. Fish.
But on a serious note, saving money is very, very important, especially if you're looking to buy a house. You don't want to come to the table with nothing. I know Elgin says that you can figure it out if you're early enough in the process, but if you don't have the knowledge to understand what early enough in the process is, you can make a terrible mistake and come to the table with nothing, go through this entire process, and still leave empty-handed.
And that's it. That can be extremely frustrating, discouraging, and really leave you out to, what you feel like hanging out and dry, but then no one really wants to help you.
Right.
So you being prepared is extremely important in this process. And just in process of what really this whole channel is about, being prepared so you have leverage.
Right.
And cash is king. That's been an old saying forever, so I think that goes and relays into this. So what do we do now that, let's say we actually did all the other steps, which is the goal here. I know some of these steps I feel like, for some people, might seem extreme. For example, paying off all your debt.
Right.
But that's what it takes.
Right.
To create wealth.
Right.
You got to be a little bit extreme.
Right. You do.
To create generational wealth, meaning you're going to be able to pass this on to your family, your little ones, whoever. You got to be even more extreme.
Right.
It doesn't come without sacrifice.
For real.
And that's, it is what it is. That's the facts. I don't know how you argue that any other way.
Someone can figure out a way to argue it, but it's facts. That's just the end of it.
That's
no
it.
Conversation.
No conversation, Chris said.
Right.
But here's where we go with it. So let's go back to, if we remember on last week, average car payment was $560.
I'm glad you remember that. I know it was $500.
Yeah, $560 something.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's $550. Keep numbers nice and easy.
Right.
Average consumer probably has $200 a month in credit card payments. Probably more than that.
Yeah, it's more than that.
But let's just
round numbers.
Let's be easy, man.
Right.
So now we're 550, 200. We're up at 750. Good thing I know how to do math.
Quickly too.
Quick. So now we're at 750. If we paid everything off, we just got 750 a month.
Right.
Back in our pocket.
As far as income is concerned, right? It's true.
So either A, what can we do with it? As Craig would say, GameStop.
No GameStop.
Wow. Enough time to say
You're on board, GameStop. All right.
Bro, I heard it went up to like $400 again. I heard it's on its third round up.
Yeah, 60. Oh yeah. That, and then Bitcoin is 61 grand as of taping, which is crazy. But
can you even get into Bitcoin?
Easily.
At 61,000.
No, because you don't buy 61,000. You buy whatever you want. I have the Coinbase app on my phone. You can. So let's say you want to buy $200 worth of Bitcoin. You can literally do that. I still have like $5 in my Bitcoin account.
$5 of Bitcoin.
It turned into like $20-something. I think.
Oh, we got $20. You know what that means?
Lunch.
Chipotle's on you. And this video is not sponsored by Chipotle. At all. So we're back to $750.
Right.
First step, you're going to be like, well, what do I save for? Do I save for my down payment? What do I save for first? Personally, I'm going to tell you, we're going to go back to that emergency fund.
Right.
We had $1,000 in it.
Right.
We're going to actually now, which should be easy, stack up 6 months.
Reserves
Worth of savings that
Right.
isn't going to go towards the house.
Right.
It's now doubling, tripling, quite frankly, 6 months worth of
Right.
savings.
Right.
Here's the thing, if you only have rent, you should only have rent, cell phone, you need a cell phone.
Right.
And auto insurance.
Right.
Not much more, and whatever you spend on eating out, right?
Right.
Or hopefully living off rice and beans like I do.
Right.
Love some rice and beans. But if you do that, at $750, 10 months,
You'll be where you need
$7,500.
to be. Right. Easy.
You got $1,000, you got $8,500. There's no reason that doesn't cover you.
Human nature is the reason that it doesn't, because what you're saying is 100% accurate, and it is the recipe to financial freedom, wealth, but the problem is most people aren't willing to sacrifice. And I think that the message that everyone can buy is an ambitious one, but it all comes down to education. Are you aware that you're spending all this money on eating out? Because I went over my own finances and I realized I was spending a lot of money eating out.
I think it's a more ambitious goal that everyone thinks they can be an entrepreneur and everyone thinks that they can figure out how to make 6 figures.
Right, right.
You can figure out on a $30,000, $40,000 a year budget
Right.
how to be a homeowner a whole lot quicker than you can figure out how to make 6 figures.
Right. Because if you're making, let's say, 40, 50, 60 grand a year, you know how much is coming in every 2 weeks. So you can structure your life around that. As an entrepreneur, you might pay X amount of dollars this month on this thing, and then your income might drop, and then
Yep.
it creates this, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, man.
So as ambitious as it is, it's less ambitious than
The
the
alternative.
alternative,
Right.
right? How do I make more money and not pay any of this stuff off?
Right,
This just creates discipline,
right. What you need.
which we need for this.
Right,
So once we get to that, then we got to talk about down payment.
right.
So now we're going to talk about, okay, well, how much do I need to save towards a house? How much down payment do I need?
Okay,
Well,
sorry to cut you, but
No.
I hear that some people say you got to have 5%, some people say 3%, some people say 20%. What's
20%.
the real answer?
the real answer, it depends on what you qualify for.
Understood.
So like I mentioned, again, running Ace Lending Group, it's a mortgage brokerage.
Right,
We have access to over 20 plus banks and lenders. Each bank and lender has different guidelines, different rules.
right,
However, we can go ahead and talk about some of the major ones known out there.
right,
So one of the most popular ones for first-time home buyers is FHA.
right.
So FHA says you can put as little as 3.5% down,
As little as.
as little as.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Well, that's the reality.
Right,
But as little as 3.5% down. The reality is most consumers qualify for that
Right,
as
right.
little as 3.5% down of the purchase price.
right,
So if the purchase price is $100,000, $3,500.
right,
At $200,000,
right,
$7,000, so on and so forth.
right.
Conventional loans, they have a program that if you're a first-time home buyer, you only need 3% down.
Jeez.
Yeah. So again,
Forget that half.
yeah, forget the half. But I mean, you think about it. At $200,000, that saves you $1,000 in your pocket.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
right.
$1,000 is $1,000.
No matter who you are.
Absolutely.
Right. That's true.
So that's a big deal. And then if you don't have to live in the city,
Right.
USDA.
Yeah.
USDA is one of my favorite loans, man.
Is it 100% financing?
It's 100% financing of whatever the purchase price or the home value is.
Okay, so question, because this is something I've heard all the time, and I still believe it to this day, even though I'm sure someone corrected me. I was told that if you go for a USDA loan, you have to have like 2 cows on your property somewhere.
Yeah, just for you though. Nobody else. For you, yes,
2
absolutely.
cows on the property.
No, you don't have to have 2 cows.
I promise you, a lot of people are going to say, I heard that too. I
Did you
guarantee-
really hear that?
I really heard it. No
You're
joke.
not pulling my leg.
I'm not pulling your leg. I've heard that. You got to have
Wow.
2 cows or some sort of farm animals for it to be USDA, because USDA is
I mean, they approve all the beef in the world.
right. Exactly. So it's like
they're beef approvers.
right. So why would they just give a regular person a loan if you're not cultivating beef on your property?
So here's what USDA is doing. USDA is picking rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest conditions
Mhm.
is that the property has to be zoned in the USDA area.
Gotcha.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to stimulate the economy
Right.
in rural areas
Right.
where there are farmers, there are those people out there, but they're trying to bring housing to those areas.
Right. So
Because
there's
here's
farms.
what it is. The more people that live there,
Mhm.
meaning more houses,
Right.
means more property taxes,
Right. More
which-
revenue.
more revenue for the city,
Right.
which means the city can put that back in their
Right.
local farmers,
Right. Right.
production, commercial.
Subsidies. Yeah. Makes sense.
And so absolutely it makes sense. So yeah, they are trying to feed that industry, but in a different way.
Right.
And it's absolutely a great loan. It's 100% financing. There's some little things, but I mean, they go down as little as a 580 credit score.
And you typically get more land than you would get in the city. And in most cases, if it's USDA land, there's no HOA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and for those that know what a HOA is, the homeowners association, it's like the mafia. You can't do or say anything without approval from the HOA, and they can fine you and take your house. I've seen people lose their homes
Absolutely.
due to HOA fines or fees that they're behind. So USDA makes sense. As low as 580 credit score,
Yeah.
100% financing, and you
There's some
typically
income
get
limits.
more. Yeah, income limits. You
There's some
typically get
income
more land.
Yeah,
So-
way more land. But I mean, some of the income limits, man, depending on your household size,
Mhm.
literally go up over $90,000 a year. So they're completely flexible. It's a great loan. It's one of my favorite loans. I couldn't say more enough about USDA.
Right.
The catch is that most people don't want to live all the way out in the boonies
Right. Right. In the
because
sticks.
they don't want to drive all the way to work.
Right.
An hour or whatever.
Right.
But here's the thing. Again, we talked about sacrifices.
Right.
You've got to drive an hour each way to work so you can actually own something versus throwing away money.
Right.
It makes sense.
And eventually, this is all speculation. A lot of these places in the rural areas will eventually be developed further. So if they get more housing out there, they might end up having a strip mall or a Wawa or something like that. And the minute they do that, property value goes up. So it makes sense to buy a house out there for dirt cheap and then wait for them to develop around that area closer to get to the people that are in these areas. It only makes sense.
It does. Two things. One of them we'll talk off topic.
Okay.
Why do they call them strip malls? Who's stripping? Second of all, off topic though. We can't do that one on camera.
I'm leaving that one in there. Go ahead.
Second thing though is, I mean, it's not speculation. I mean, Claremont's a phenomenal example. Claremont was all USDA.
Right.
But here's the thing, everything that's inner Claremont, not USDA anymore. All outside of Claremont is USDA.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, literally where I live, it's not USDA.
Right.
5 minutes outside of me, it's all USDA.
Right. That's crazy.
So just gotta be open-minded,
Right.
really do, and understand it can take a little bit of sacrificing.
Right.
But having that down payment's important.
Right.
Then the second part becomes closing costs.
Right.
Closing costs, I mean, the best way I put this is let's talk about the car dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Chris, I want to go ahead and buy that car in $20,000.
Right.
How much is it going to be out the door?
A whole lot more than that.
Like 23, 24,
Easily.
depending on what other add-ons,
Easily.
$25,000.
Right.
And we're talking about Uncle Sam, right?
Right.
State of Florida taxes.
Dealer fee.
Dealer fee in the car dealership. Well, when doing real estate, you got the same stuff.
Right.
The title company, they have to title it. So they're going to charge you for that. They're going to go ahead and, I mean, I've seen fees from title companies that say electronic storage document fee. They charge you like $10
Put it on their hard drive.
to put it in the cloud and store it.
Okay, I got a question. And this is literally out of pure ignorance. So as you've said before, we both work in the car industry, and when it comes to dealer fees, someone will say, I'm not paying that fake made up fee. Do you get the same thing as a mortgage broker?
I don't get it here at all, really. The closest thing I get to it is XYZ wasn't charging that. So things that are, on the lending side, if you're financing, there are things called like underwriting fee,
Right.
processing fee,
Right.
and/or points.
And when they say that to you, do you say, then why didn't you go with them?
No.
Okay. Okay. I'm learning. I'm working on me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Chris, what we do here is a little differently. It's a good one. But keep in mind, what's different is I don't have to haggle with them.
Right.
I'm shopping for them.
Right. You're a broker. Right.
I'm a broker.
Right.
I'm not. It's not like they're coming to me and I work for one bank, one
Right.
place, and these are my fees.
Right.
Okay, no problem. Send it over and let me go shop.
Right.
And let me submit it to a couple different lenders and let me see what the lenders are going to come back at.
So that's what makes a brokerage so much better because you have no choice but to fight for them.
I'm representing. It's like you getting a free representation to get someone to shop for you.
As opposed to if you're with
Bunch of shameless plugs here, guys, for Ace Lending Group.
Hey, it's right behind you. They can see it. You know,
Shameless plug number back there.
But so they can go and say, hey, I don't feel as if I should pay this, and you can go ahead and.
I'll give you an example, man. No names, no companies, because it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
I have managers
Mm-hmm.
from banks and lenders who come to me, who work at bank and lenders, doing the same thing I do, but they come to me to do their financing.
Oh, I've actually seen that happen to you. It's with.
I said no names.
I'm gonna bleep it out. Go ahead.
So as we talk about no names, yeah, that's right. But here's the thing. Here's the best part. It's
Right.
I'm getting the rate
Right.
at wholesale.
Yes.
So guess what I did? I sent them back
Right.
to that same place that you're going to beep out. So they still used me to go back to their own bank, their own lender,
Right.
but they couldn't even get as good as a deal as an employee
Right.
as I could get them negotiating on their behalf because I'm getting stuff at wholesale.
Right.
But this is why education, it's important. This is why we made this channel. There's so many. I mean, the fact that you thought USDA needed 2 cows on your land,
Dead serious.
and I believe you.
Right.
But
Right.
there's a lot. You know what there is? There's people that think that going through a mortgage broker, it costs you more money.
Yeah.
There's people that believe going through the bank costs you more money.
Right.
There's all sorts of beliefs. There's all sorts of facts
Right.
that are not facts because of the internet.
Right. Fake news.
Fake news. And here's the thing: it's if you go ahead and create enough of the content,
Right.
it becomes the storyline. It becomes
Trust me,
the
I
radar.
know. We've had those conversations where I'm like, how are people believing these lies? And you said it. You said it's the internet. You know, they get it, they digest it, they share it because it sounds good. And
it sounds great.
yeah, the lie has made it around the world twice before the truth ever gets a chance to put its pants on.
Here's the deal: we got into baby step number 4,
Right.
savings. How much should you save? If you're gonna go ahead and get into a home that's under 200,000, 7-10 grand,
Right.
you're gonna be able to do it. Now, one of the things that we're running into in today's market, it's super hot, man.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is and when I say hot, I'm talking about there are cash offers right now on homes over 300,000. So it makes it hard to compete when you're submitting a finance offer.
Right.
It makes it harder to compete if you need to ask for seller concessions.
Right.
So meaning that you have to ask help for your closing costs because you can negotiate how much the seller can help for your closing costs. So you don't always need to pay all your closing costs. It can be negotiated.
Right.
However, keep that in mind that also means in return you have to be more patient.
Right.
Because that first, second, or third offer might not get accepted.
It's like a meme that I saw where it was like, hey, it was a realtor talking to another realtor, and they were like, hey, you sent over the contract with the amount left in blank. And then the response was, we're tired of sending in offers, just have your seller fill it out with whatever number and send it back. Like, it's...
Absolutely.
How much do you want for this house? We don't care anymore. We're not going to negotiate. Let's just pay you whatever it is you want.
Absolutely.
And even then, you're going to find competition.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy.
Couldn't agree. Couldn't agree more. Well, based on that, Chris, we have one more segment.
What's that?
Mind-blowing facts.
What you got this week?
So what I got this week, not so mind-blowing, but I think it ties into everything.
Right.
Because we all have egos. We aren't all willing to do sacrifices.
Right.
But I want to throw some numbers out there that really, I think, go...
Talk to me.
So we talked about car payment, average car payment.
Right.
$60, $550.
$550 to keep it round. Right.
Then we talked about credit cards. I left it low, $200.
Very low.
Average minimum credit card payments.
Right.
We didn't talk about how much people are spending on rent. Probably close to $1,500 a month.
Easily more.
All right, let's just say $1,500.
Yeah, okay. I can appreciate you being conservative because you don't know where our audience is from.
We don't.
Right.
I mean,
but we live in Central Florida, and I'm thinking about the Central Florida market.
And we're not even the most expensive market by no means.
Right, and I saw one bedroom for like, I think it was a studio for like $1,750.
That's insane.
In a safe neighborhood, so.
So we add all those up, we're at $2,250.
Easily.
$2,250. At $2,250, Chris, we go back in, we eat our egos, swallow our pride, and move in with mom and dad for 1 year.
Right.
In 10 months.
Save a whole lot of money.
Save a whole lot of money, dude. You're saving $20,000.
Easily.
20 grand.
10 months, wow. Just by not paying rent.
Not even a whole year.
Right. Less than a year.
Forget that. Get a roommate. Split that in half.
Right.
So now you got, okay, so you're not paying $1,500, you're spending $750
Right.
on rent.
Right.
The car, the credit card, now is $750. $1,500, 10 months. That's still $15,000.
Right.
So for anyone to say, I can't save,
They just don't know how.
they're not willing to do the how. They're not willing to do it. You aren't willing to suffer long enough in pain.
Right. To make it work. To chase
make
your
it
dream.
work.
Chase your dreams, not jeans. Excuse me.
So with that being said, really what it, again, it isn't as mind-blowing, but it's important to realize when we put into that perspective, man, easily you can figure out how to save 15 minutes. Let's dial that back. That's 10 grand anyone could save.
Easily. Right.
But we got to do what it takes. No different than, again, we talked about it before from the very best step. We got to take care of our wealth like we take care of our health.
Right. Very important. Both
And if we
very
don't
important.
do either of those, we aren't going to be around long.
Right.
And just like we can go ahead and pass down bad generational health,
Yeah.
because we can create bad eating habits in our bodies that create cholesterol, create diabetes, create all these other things that then all of a sudden become, oh, it's in my genes, it's in my DNA.
Right.
And we want to believe this nonsense.
Right.
We can do the same thing with wealth, where we can believe all of a sudden, oh, well, my parents never had anything, so-and-so never had
Right.
anything, they could never save, how can I do it?
Right.
And it just becomes a never-ending cycle.
So the mind-blowing fact is the fact that you can live with mom and dad, a roommate, a friend, whatever, and cut your costs significantly to where you can save the amount for the down payment within a year.
Within a year.
Easily.
Done.
Right. That makes sense. Because some people may say, well, I don't want to go live with mom and dad. But sometimes you have to do what you can so you can do what you want later on.
On that note, that's this week's mind-blowing fact.
This has been EC Money with Elgin and Chris. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow us on all our social media. Thanks, guys.
Peace.